Share my screen. There we go. Yeah, I was kind of annoyed this morning because Windows forced me to update. Well, good thing they didn't, update to the newest one, but uh, it just, it's at a point where it just forces you to update. I'm kind of bad on that. Anyways, good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Seems like, it's wild times these days. We got the Department of Government Efficiency with Elon Musk. Definitely seems like the leadership and the influencers of the economy today, they're really promoting crypto. So I found that interesting. Um, Crypto's been very hot. Uh, I mean, it's a topic that we can cover here today as well, depending on the interest. But as usual, we'll go over stocks. Markets didn't do too well last week, I would say, but definitely, the initial burst was really good, right? So what I have on the screen right here is Coinbase, and Coinbase one, two, three, four, five, right? First 2 days was really fantastic. The line that I drew right here was where I exit, and then I exit, then it went higher, and I didn't know I was a fool or not. I was like, damn, maybe this thing can go higher, right? You never know with these things, but by day three right here, it gapped down pretty hard, or it didn't gap down, it sold down really hard, and I felt pretty good. And it found a local bottom right here, you could say, right? Local support area right there. So that might be interesting to look at. I was eyeing this 280 area as well. And basically, this is where we're at now, right? We got a pop. And then if you look at the crypto markets right now, Bitcoin being like $90,000, very good. Very, very good, right? So just give it time. The hottest segments right now, definitely the markets surprised me the second week, or sorry, not the second week, the second half of the markets was a little bit surprising. I think we took some damage the second part of the week. It's not ideal because what I'm looking for is momentum follow through, in which case we didn't fully have that, right? But that's okay. I mean, we're still in a decent formation, I would say. Looking at things like Tesla and stuff like that, I'm trying to swing this one again. Let's see how this one does, right? Because I mean, this one again, this one also ripped up quite a bit as well. I don't recall if I sold out over here or even up here. I don't remember, but maybe it actually was over here. So didn't get that last. Wait, hold on. One, two, three, four, five. Actually, never mind. Sorry, I did sell up here. I was just looking at the support right here. So uh, a lot of it was just like this is what it looked like at the beginning, right on the Monday, right out of the right out of the gate. Everything was just really performing. But got out and then I got back in. So let's see if this one could continue to go. But I don't like the lack of follow through on the indices. It does look kind of bad, which makes things a little bit difficult. But it is what it is. You have to just adjust to what the markets are trying to do, right? So this is what we have right here. Right, if you look at the arrow right here, pointed at, nice bounce off the 50-day moving average. Markets gap up above this trend line right here. Pushes very high, right? We got like a huge gap and go, gap and run, moving up, and then resistance at $600, right? Almost like perfectly right there, and then come back down, back below this trend line right here, right? So that wasn't the follow through that I was expecting. Ideally, I wanted to see like maybe at least a bounce right here, like some sort of follow through like that. So the key thing to watch for next week, at least for me, is we get back above 590 right here and move towards 600, right? That tells me that market participants, at least the institutional folks, are still heavily trying to buy, and when they're heavily trying to buy, then well, that's just positive market momentum all around. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for next week. But anyways, good morning, guys. We're about 5 minutes in. I'm getting a little bit warmed up here. And what else? What else was I going to mention? There were setups, but not in the semiconductor space, but it's kind of heavy, right? Like Nvidia is like leading the way. If we pull up Nvidia right here, it is minus 3% on the last trading day right there. Hold on, what's going on my internet? There we go. This is Nvidia right here. I mean, it's still holding, but the segment not doing too good. So we saw a lot of the segments in the hardware sell off quite a bit. So this is the SMH ETF that tracks the hardware segment. This is what I'm seeing right here, right? Not good. It was looking good last week, but one, two, three, four, five. Last 5 days, lots of selling right here. So I'm gonna need to see this one get back above this trend line right here, the one that I drew. for things to get a little bit better. But in the meantime, it looks like maybe get defensive a little bit. But in crypto is just like perfect environment. So if you go into like everything from Bitcoins to altcoins or meme coins are very hot right now. It is this current cycle's narrative. So that's where I'm actually focusing. Uh, maybe I guess you could say quite a bit of my weekend time, not so much on a regular week. But yeah, that's what's hot right now. Any questions? Any stocks? Any stocks you guys are looking at? If not, we'll continue to do the regular weekly analysis just to keep ourselves sharp and disciplined approach, right? It's just the like you gotta ask yourself the fundamental question: when do the markets ever stop? It never stops. It stops when humanity stops, and so opportunities will set up, and we'll just have to scan around and let charts repair, and that's how it goes. So let's see. Let's see. Let's start from the top. Bernard says, "What's your thoughts on overall holiday spend this year?" What we could do is look at consumer discretionary, so XLY, and we could see what's the trajectory of consumer discretionary securities right now. So in other words, this is the XLY ETF. Again, it represents consumer discretionary funds that they have after, after whatever that's left after their expenses, right? Discretionary income. And if we look at it, right, we can look at some of the biggest players right here. So going into space like Amazon, Tesla, stuff like that. So does that, I mean, would these qualify in what you're looking at, Bernard? From just like zooming out right here, I still think it looks pretty good. Took a little bit of a damage, but we could definitely bounce right here, right? So I still feel overall bullish going into year end, but I mean the second half of the week selling that we saw a little bit concerning. So let's see. I still think we bounce back. I still think, I mean, especially like with crypto moving up, right? Maybe that'll add some tailwind, but maybe we'll get a little bit more visibility going into futures later today, and see what happens in the Asian markets. Bernard says, I think companies like Target, Walmart, Apple, Home Depot, which is HD, will all have record sales. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, right? Because I am still eyeing Apple right here. I do have a bet that's now like less than 40 days that this thing will rally 10%, but let's see. I am looking at that big giant amount of volume right there at the horizontal volume. So I was pretty happy that we got back above the 50-day moving average, but we're back below that. But that's okay. Let's see. Again, I still feel pretty bullish in this market, but I just don't like, yet again, I don't like the second half performance of last week, right? Things kind of turned around. So let's see. Let's see if the institutions show up this coming week. So Apple, this is what I'm seeing, right? Would be nice to get back above that 50-day moving average. Other stocks that you mentioned right here, like Target, let's take a look. I mean, I know Walmart's going up higher, but let's take a look at Target. Looking at Target right here, we have just consolidation, right? It really doesn't move until we get above like that 160 line right there. It's just how it is. It's in like a tight trading, symmetrical triangle trading range, you could say. Earnings coming up as well on Target, so nothing much. Nothing much to comment here, but we could look at some of the fundamentals, right? Um, well, let's skip this one. For the first half, we're going to be talking about stocks, and then the second half, we're going to be diving into enterprise software reports that recently came out. So I'm pretty excited for that. And we'll look at enterprise software stocks as well, because that stuff is super duper exciting to me. Um, anyways, okay, so that's Target. Let's go to the other ticker symbols that you're looking at. Walmart right here. Let's see what's going on over here. So this one's been trending pretty well, but let's see. Let's check to see if the trend still maintains. So yeah, trend still maintains. This one still looks good to me. Um, it's just shoot. Let's zoom out right here. Right, this should be at all-time highs. Look at that. That's just wild right there. But it is what it is. It just seems like going into year end, we're going. I definitely think we're going to see a Santa rally. So hold on tight. Let's see, what's the other one? And then Home Depot. Let's look at Home Depot, and then we'll look at Lowe's as well, just to check these particular stocks. Home Depot over here. Oh, it is a little bit slower here. Home Depot right here, I do like the support at the 50-day moving average. We are post earnings right here. So you do have some information. So let's see, sales wise, quarter over quarter is growing 6%, right? Shares outstanding declining. I like that. EPS, this is a profitable company, and sales are up into 152 billion. Margin wise, 31% gross margin down to, for the profit margin, they take home about 9.45%, right? So let's see how much debt actually. They have quite a bit of debt, as you see right here. I'm going to mute somebody real quick. So quite a bit of debt, but that's okay. Let's zoom out. Let's see what we see on the technical side. From a technical perspective, I do like this rounded bottom right here. So let's do this. Let me refresh this one more time. Get the drawing tools in. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There we go. So I do like this rounded bottom action right here, right? I mean, it's just, let me see where it is. There it is. This rounded bottom action right there, right? In my opinion, you want to be looking for stuff like this, right? Sort of like, a cup, you could say is eventually there's going to be a cup and handle right here, right? So maybe we pull back a little bit and handle forms. That's actually, typically a very bullish setup right there. Something to be on a lookout for. But I definitely like this rounded bottom right here, especially at the 50-day moving average. You see lots and lots of support right here, right? You can tell that someone's looking at a bigger time frame, could be a larger player looking at a bigger time frame, and continuously buying whenever it goes back to this area here. So I definitely see that there is a buyer at the 50-day moving average. So I like that. And we're not too far from all-time highs, right? Remember, all-time highs is a good thing. If we look at Netflix, oh man, talk about Netflix. There was a live stream on a Friday, and that was just like it was a boxing match with an influencer and Mike Tyson. That was just it was just I don't know. In my interpretation, it was like a money grab. But anyways, this is Netflix right here, right? We said that once it crosses 700, it starts to move, and well, we're seeing that right now. It went from 700 to 823. Bernard says awful, awful as in the boxing match. Yeah, I mean it just seemed like there wasn't any. Yeah, it didn't seem like there was any effort, right? At least like from Iron Mike Tyson. But maybe it's because they had pre-discussions around business terms and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe he was meant to lose, and there was a big bet on the other side, right? The fight with the two women was scary. I didn't watch the rest of the fight. I just tuned into the main event. But it was scary. Hey, I trust you. That probably does sound scary. Um, but yeah, Netflix is probably one of the plays that I still really like, and I think this one continues to go, even though market conditions are turning around a little bit, right? Let's see. Not fully ideal, but there are still plays out there, and I think again, I think most of the plays are in the crypto segment. Like just last night, I mean, Solana is like moving even higher, right? Solana is approaching all-time highs. Lots of opportunities in the crypto space. If anything, I need to ramp up my activities on the crypto side, but I know how, folks in here, we prefer stocks, right? So for me, I just prefer whatever makes money. Mm, I see blood gushing and stuff like that. Yeah, I didn't watch that fight, but maybe I skimmed through and I did see some blood. Pretty intense. So let's take it from the top. Let's go back to the S&P 500 and also update you guys, show you guys the $8,000 indicator showing what's going on with that indicator and how the grandmaster traders out there are, I guess, adjusting with their systems. But right now, guys, as mentioned already, this is what we have with the S&P 500. Ideally, this is the line that I want it to hold, right? We got to find support here. There's a possibility that come Monday we could get back into this. Oh, where's my drawing? We could get back into this, and that'd be a good thing. Oh, why is my drawing not going? Wrong button right there. Come Monday, if I could see something like this, that would be much better, right? That could be the case, because I think with the I guess you could say the way things move after the political results, um, markets are desiring to go higher, but I need that. I need to see this next in order to feel confident. If not, then this line could be potentially resistance, and that could be another thing for the markets. Let's look at Nasdaq real quick, right? Just doing a quick screen around the top portion of the markets, then we'll dive into individual stocks. So same thing right here, right? It was looking really good with a breakout right here, right? Traded above, but then we failed, came back down. So now we are officially, or you say from the algorithm that's showing this, we're respecting this trend line right here, right? So there is support right here, and I want to see that support continue to be support moving into next week. Something like that would be fantastic, right? That would show me much more confidence. So let's see if the markets come in. I mean, looking at Bitcoin at 90K, I think so. At least for like coin and MicroStrategy, those would be like top runners. I mean, they were top runners last week, but again, anything that goes with that comes with outperformance, anything that outperforms tends to have like a rest period, right? So that's something that you have to anticipate. That's why I sold out, but now I'm looking to get back in. V says yes, it would be good to dive into whatever is hot. I believe the big money just moves around, so following the hottest trend seems like a great way to take advantage of volatility. 100%. Um, Right now, we're just doing a quick snapshot of market conditions, just to like help you guys calibrate. So this is the Dow Jones Industrial Average right here. I do like this right here, right? Little pop, like this is what I'm talking about, the political pop right here. So you see right here. I mean, I rarely see something. If we look at historical backtest right here on the Dow Jones, I rarely see a gap this large with this much volume right here. So a gap up like this, that's bullish to me. Pushing up to all-time highs, right? But pulling back a bit, I think we find support right there. So we look at some of the names within here, the biggest ones. I'm surprised that Apple will be in here, but okay. But yeah, like uh, it'd be like Goldman Sachs, Home Depot. Yeah. So yeah, I think it'd be healthy to find support right here for Dow Jones coming into this week. And then Russell 2000, right? That one started to move pretty well. Uh, Again, just doing a high level analysis at the top. So this one right here, we broke out. Look, big gigantic gap up right there. Big gap up. I mean, things were looking really positive, but of course, markets like to correct. So yeah. It's I guess you could say it's not really surprising to me because when markets move a lot, it tends to correct. And so to me, I find this healthy as long as we meet the certain support areas like right here, right? I like us to hold here to show that a buyer is stepping in and continue to push these markets higher. Real quick, do we want to look at international markets? We don't have to. Let's look at the FANGs. I actually want to update the FANGs because those are really like the core pieces that influence the overall movements of the market, right? If you guys are curious about the $8,000 indicator real quick, we could plug in some stickers. So SPY, just show you guys how it turned, right? So not necessarily a sell signal. We don't, we don't have a sell signal here, right? It's just like a slow down signal. So we had a long signal somewhat right here, right? We converted to a long signal, but now it's like a slow down signal. So if we combine it all, which I like to do, I don't like to just, look at one, QQQ, DIA plus IWM, and then boom, we have all right here. And this was the big long signal right here that we had, right, with the results of the election, and then momentum moving in, but then now we're kind of just slowing down, right? Still, the indicator is still signaling along, but it again, if it fails to meet my criteria, like hold support somewhere here, then I'm going to be just looking the other direction. So slow down. Don't be in a rush just yet. But I am looking at some nice tickers like Coinbase and MicroStrategy. So that's the collective for S&P 500, Nasdaq, Dow Jones, and IWM. Now let's put in the FANGs, right? So the FANGs would be Meta plus Microsoft plus Apple plus Amazon plus Google plus Tesla plus Nvidia. Those are the fangs, right? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Not the fangs. I apologize. I meant to say the Magnificent Seven right there. So we look at the indicator, right? Lots and lots of like, hey, buy signals right here, right? And it did push up, but then now it's slowing down a little bit. Remember, risk management is paramount. No matter what we do, wherever you get in, always have a spot where you plan to get out, just so that you take like small paper cuts. Not a thousand, not a thousand paper cuts that take you out, but just try to take as many small paper cuts as you can with with the purpose of capitalizing on a large move, right? That's the goal right there. So yeah, this is the Fang or the Fangs or the Magnificent Seven. Sure, things are still okay, but we see a slowdown according to the system right here. All right, so let's do a little bit of a closer dive into some of these tickers right here, the ones that I like. So let's look at Meta. Right? Because like I'm looking at these performing going into year end. We want to look at year-to-date performance as well. So looking at Meta real quick, as soon as the data loads, we go down. Year-to-date performance is 56%, right? What I don't like is we failed the 50-day moving average. So boo, right? I really wanted this one to hold, but now because of our strict rules, you got to follow the rules right here, it's not respecting that. Now, come Monday, it could gap back up, or not gap, but it could move back up above the 50-day moving average, causing things to look okay again. But for a time being, this is not good to me, right? So I'd step back from this one. That's just how it is. Let's look at Microsoft. I show you guys the leaders right here. Right? When markets are really good, usually the leaders are showing a lot of performance, and so that's why we got to look at these. So looking at this one right here, this is Microsoft right here, right? So you see the trend line right there. You see a symmetrical triangle setting up right here. So here's the top portion, right? That's the resistance right there. And then the bottom portion right here. So it's just consolidating, right? Not necessarily down, not necessarily up, but it is below the 200-day moving average. What about Meta as a short? Yeah, I think so. Definitely think so. Same thing with Microsoft, right? But if we go back to Meta, you need to think about like, okay, like how far can it go short to, right? Things to think about. Let me see. Okay. Okay, so let's see. So Meta right here. Yeah, you could say this is a short right here. For sure, for sure. If you have the if you're gutsy, yeah. Short wise, I think we collapse down to maybe we retest 540, right? That could be the case. But from a bullish narrative perspective, I think a lot of people want to buy something like this, at least because it's just it's one of those like, hey, this is a winning stock, it's a market leader. So it'll find support somewhere here. But if it gets severe, we start to sell off, we will revisit the 100 MA and then we'll revisit the 200 MA. So those would be, near-term short trades that you definitely could take on. But you need to have your risk management, right? So if you short right here 554, then you cut off, it's like 560, 561, whatever, right? Just get out of it. But it is. I definitely think that's a trade right there. Microsoft, MSFT. Let's take a look. So as I was drawing, right, Microsoft just kind of consolidating right now. It needs more time. Either stocks are consolidating or they're in a period of movement, right? So right now, yeah, this is Microsoft right here. Just choppy, choppy. I think it's just going to hug this 200-day moving average. In other words, it's just going to hug. Oh, it's just going to hug this right here, and that's why you're just going to be chopping around, right? I you know I think over time one would learn that you rather be in a stock that's really moving in like a determined direction, like RKLB, the rocket narrative stocks right here. So taking a look at this one right here. Right, this one is like very determined to move higher, and it's been moving higher. So you rather play stuff like this. I know it's like high, but that's where it tests your ego, right? Or whatever you want to call it. Is it ego, or is it your psychology, or your ability to like, oh, it's too high, I can't take it. But these are really the opportunities right here, guys. So this one probably going to go higher because if we zoom out, look at the monthly right here. This thing basically is hitting all-time highs. So look at that, right? Top, look at that. It basically peaked out of all-time highs right there. So this thing IPO'd via SPAC. Speaking of moving, can we see App? Yeah, AppLovin is moving like pretty hard as well. But man, like you also gotta so for something like an AppLovin, like you need to consider like the late stage of this rally, right? Like after some point, a really strong rally like this becomes an attractive short. So yeah, like I know, like it's like don't be cheap, right? But like at some point, things actually look really attractive on the short side. So just from a monthly perspective, right? On the daily, it looks good. On the daily, it's like hugging the moving average and stuff like that. It's setting up to go higher, but it's getting to like a juicy point where like yeah, like a healthy, quote unquote, healthy mean reversion would just be good, right? And we're talking about a mean reversion of like where it is right now, 291 to even like 250 mean reversion. So that's something that I'd like to see, right? I mean, look, perspective, right? If this was me, I sell most of it. I probably still hold on, but I'd be very strict right now. I'd be very strict at this 580 support right here. So like so strict that like look, if it doesn't hold 580, I'm just not gonna play this because I know it's like again, if you zoom out on the monthly, you have a perspective, right? This is the perspective on the monthly right here. And folks, by the way, I'm gonna pull in let's pull in some tools right here, and we're gonna dive into some crypto as well today. Just because you guys are the this is the hot segment right here, right? So I do want to look through this. I am looking at a lot of memes, so it seems like a joke, but a joke like I'm not gonna lie, like I'm positioned heavily on this one right here, and I even staked this one and it's giving me like 300%, right? Well, hold on. The first stake it gave me 200%, and then now it's like I'm gonna stake it again for later in December, uh, for 3.2 320%. So it's just like damn, like like forget 5%, like you're getting like 100% over in this realm over here. So I am looking at this segment pretty aggressively. Maybe we review it towards later, but it's one of the hottest segments right now. Right, but we'll still look at stocks. I'll look at everything. Shoot. But if you guys have any interest there, let me know, and we'll go around. So App Lovin', right? I'm loving this. Don't get me wrong, I'm loving this, but I'm gonna be very strict because of like going on the monthly, right? Like on the daily, it looks very good, but on the monthly, this is like, from a Bollinger Band perspective, right? How many standard deviations are we out? So let's put app in here, right? I mean, you definitely have a buy signal over here. Look, it's not always perfect, right? From this perspective, the buy signal was all the way over here, but then it failed, but then it crossed over, it changed colors right here. So this was also a buy signal right here. This was also a buy signal right here, right? From a color perspective, not like a full green, but a color perspective. And then recently, this was a buy signal right here, right? And then momentum started to push higher, so very attractive. But on the monthly, it's getting a little hard right there, right? We're due for a healthy pullback. So that's my take on AppLovin. Maybe I'll even try. I mean, I shouldn't. Okay, I was short if it falls below 280. Short over under 280, right? But calls above 300. Calls above 300, short below 280. That would be my range right there. Those are yeah, what do you call it? Decision bands, right? My decision bands are right here. So short below 280, calls above 300. Because if it pushes higher, then yeah, I mean, and this is some massive volume too. I mean, just this day alone right here, it traded 24 million shares. 24 million shares on an average, so it traded 6 times its average shares. So if anything, this is very bullish right here, right? It's very bullish, and you might be surprised that it has more likelihood to go above 300. But I think if we get one more leg up, right? One more leg up, then it becomes like an attractive, like high probability short right here, right? Because one more leg up like that, it'll probably look something like that, and that could be, crazy. Because if you measure it from the lows right here, and this was, or even the beginning of the year, if we do a beginning of the year, this thing's already up 630%. Yeah, they just love this one, right? And that's just how it is, right? Like we don't know why. It's just they might know something that we don't know, but we're the smaller player. So as a smaller player, we need to figure out, okay, how are we playing around this? How are we adjusting? So yeah, like this could definitely go higher, but I'd be interested in exploring shorts. It's just like Tesla, right? Like this thing went up so high that I sold around this day. I probably sold like at the open at like 340 right here. It's just like I know I caught a good move, and if you measure the move, it's like, hey, like if I got the move from like I don't know right here to right here, I already caught like a 40% move. I need to take some off the table. So always, 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 if you know you caught like a really good move, like try to take some because markets or just the way stocks move, it always, from a healthy perspective, it always pulls back, right? It's just how it is. So that's yeah. Anyways, yeah. So that's that one right there. And man, we're gonna look at so many cryptos today. It's gonna be fun. Well, let's see. Let's see towards the end. Whatever we have time for. But this is app loving. So I do like it, but I have my decision bands already. Right, below 280 short, above 300 calls, or below 280 puts. Um, App Lovin'. Let's see, what other ones were we gonna look at? I thought there was something else. We were looking at the Magnificent Sevens, and we are going through that. We look at Microsoft. Let's look at Apple. Well, let's look at Amazon. I mean, Amazon's performing. Uh, Now last Friday, with the exception of last Friday, but it has been performing. So look at this. Check this out. Look at where it found support right here, right at the 200. So if it was me, if you want to play this mean reversion right here and a bounce trade, I definitely think there's a $200 bounce right here. So it could bounce up right here. So, oh, where's my drawing? Always clicking on the wrong one right there. So possible trade idea, it would be a bounce trade right here, in which case we continue, right? So that could be a trade. But be really, really serious about the risk management or support right here, right? You want support to hold right here. That's very key. So yeah, that's Amazon right there. What else? What else? What else? Amazon. Let's go on to the next one. Oh, okay. Let's look at Apple again. I do want to look at this one, and I do want to plug it into the expensive indicator right here for you guys. So APL, and this is what it looks like right here. Boom, boom, boom. Right? See that? So indicator is not always perfect either, right? So that's why I have my own system on top of like the other two expert systems that are in here. So this one says slow down, right? But for me, it's like, all right, I want to take a little bit of risk right here because I definitely think someone's accumulating, but just give it time. This one just needs more time. Um, let's go on to Google. Google, I mean, it was looking good. I tried some calls on it, but then it got stopped out. So I'll show you what I mean, right? So I was positioned at the 180 right here, but then it started to sell down. So went below, gap below my low, and then just get out, right? So then now it's back down, but it found support at the 20-day moving average, right? So moving forward, if we were to forward test this, I see this is the resistance point right here, right? So potentially it could look something like this. Go like that, and then finally it goes over. So that would be ideal right there. Right, so that's what I'm seeing with Google. Google is looking good. I was trying as well, but it just went back down. So again, it has to do with like market conditions, right? Markets failed at a broad scale. It failed to follow through, which is what was needed in order for me to stay committed. But if it's turning around now, then we just have to adjust, right? So just try to stay with the pace of the markets and go to markets that are performing. So markets performing would be like, well, over here, right? And there's a lot of stuff going on in this space. But okay, so that's Google. Let's go on to the next one. Uh, let's do let's do Nvidia. Right. Again, we're just covering the fangs right now, guys. Uh, Nvidia right here. Right. And if I were you guys, I would absolutely get into the habit of analyzing the fangs every week because they're just like core to the markets. Like they're very foundational. The fangs, the Magnificent Sevens, because it's just like if you analyze that, then now you know the rhythm of the markets, right? You know like what's the most popular items, top shelf items in the marketplace that folks are all talking about, all institutions are thinking about as well. So looking at Nvidia right here. I like this. I like what I see right here, right? It came above and it found support right here, but you also got to be aware earnings coming up. On top of that, semiconductors, they were looking good last Sunday, but they didn't perform the way we thought it would. So what does that mean? That's actually a signal right there. That's actually a valuable lesson. If you guys remember Bukowski's busted patterns, right? Which basically says that, look, if something looks bullish and is no longer bullish, then it becomes a short. So looking at SMH right here, right? And again, the whole semiconductor industry in which it outperformed, but now there's a lot of weight, especially with SMCI. SMCI would be a put, by the way. But uh, well, I was going to draw. So it was looking good last week because we were going for a move, out here, right? But we failed. This became resistance. So then, therefore, this now became a short trade, right? So that's how you test the markets. At least this is what I'm seeing working, which is like, okay, everything looks bullish, things are rallying, but if it fails to meet my criteria, then it's probably the other direction. And so that's what we had right here. So last week it was looking good. I think last week, to be correct, it was actually right here. So last week, to draw it correctly, it was right here, right? One, two, three, four, five. Yeah, last week was where my arrow is pointing at. That's where we were last week, right? But it hit resistance. And so we came back into this trading range right here. Now, trading range, we want to draw the bottom of the range. It's also below that. So it's actually looking pretty bearish, right? So then the next area of support right here that could bounce is the 200-day moving average from an industry perspective, right? So you look across the industry in terms of like, performance, right? Like Broadcom, we were looking at last Sunday. This one was truly looking good, right? But it failed, right? It continued to hit this multi-top right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this was resistance. We knew this was resistance. And come Monday, it was a decision like, okay, well, come Monday, I was really focused on like coin and MicroStrategy and Tesla because those really performed. But this is what we got right here. So hit resistance and then started to move lower, and well, that's where we're at right now. So excuse me, key thing to watch is support right here, but we could tell that previously it's not always perfect, right? It always like kind of it's like tricky around this 100-day moving average right there. So there you go. That's what we're seeing. So very possible this thing just does the same thing and just goes down. But I don't see this one going down too much, as at least I'm thinking. I wouldn't be too concerned until like at the 200-day moving average, really. So it's not really concerning right until like around here, right? But that's what I'm seeing with this one. And then we look at Nvidia, then look at Tesla. So Nvidia was like the leader holding up the rest of the semiconductor segment. If you ask me from like if I were to narrate like what I see with the price action in the markets, looking at Tesla over here, all right, I re-added this one, but it wasn't perfect. I think I re-added around the 320, went down a little bit, but I am back in my swings over here. So from a Tesla perspective, I don't remember where I got in. Maybe it was over here, or yeah, I actually don't remember. Maybe it was like over here somewhere, but I caught this move and then I got out here and then it went down a bit and now I'm back in. So I am looking at this one to be bullish. I definitely like the fact that again, the way I look at it is not like I have neutral opinions about Elon Musk. Doesn't matter what I think. What matters is what the markets and the institutions or the money that's being deployed, the capital being deployed, what they think about Elon Musk. That is like 1,000 times more important because they have the capital to basically, uh, how do I say it, execute on it, right? So, yeah. So looking at this one right here, I mean, I still think there are plays in the market, but with the market feeling heavy, right, it could be questionable going into next week. So just be little bit more cautious. I definitely I still think it's like green light. I feel right because last week was just like super bullish everything. And I think this was just the healthy pullback that we're seeing right now. So I moving forward into next week, I still feel like it's like green light, but always risk management is paramount. That's the first thing. Risk management is paramount, especially if like you're approaching the markets from a trading perspective. If you're approaching the markets from a long-term perspective, then that's a different story, right? Um, like if you're looking at 1 year plus holding time period, then you don't need to look at it with such precision like this. But if you're swing trading and you're actively trading, then yeah, I think stuff like this makes sense. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to catch like a really good wave, and really good waves happen in really good environments. So I still think it's a really good environment. It's just we're in a near-term pullback right now. That's all. So waves are going to come. Especially I think maybe in the next 30, 60, 90 days or even 180 days in the crypto segment, right? That's the hottest segment. I mean, it continues to be hot like all weekend as I'm watching over here. I think yesterday I spent like I don't know, I spent like probably 10 hours looking at charts just for fun. Like I was just so addicted. I don't know why. I was just scanning through. I was just scanning through, looking at all the whale wallets and stuff like that, seeing what they're holding, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy that some people have like I don't know, like 100 million in like Pepe, the meme coin, which is just wild to me. But yeah, there's a lot of action on this side. Okay, so yeah, this is what I see for this one. I think this one right here, I'd like to see this one push up going into next week. Uh, but I definitely think, this, if anything, if this pulls back more, fantastic, right? Because I think just like with the narratives that I'm seeing in the marketplace, with his activity in politics right now, it's creating a lot of like just consensus around what people are thinking about, and I definitely see the capital deployment line up as well. So in other words, I see the not the actual, you could say fundamentals, I guess you could say there's the business fundamentals, but then there's also like the analyzing the executive leadership, right? So I think the executive leadership fundamental part is lining up well with the technicals right now and the narratives. So I think this one's going to be a mega runner. In terms of like how high, well, let's see how high you guys think we go. I definitely think we're going to visit 400, and then from there, depending on how we act around that price, I definitely think we could potentially go a lot higher, right? Because this right now, this thing could be a $3 trillion company, and it's just like it's wild. It's just it's just like the more the stock market rallies, the more you're gonna have meme coins. Period. Right? You're just gonna create that reality. The more you rip off the younger generation, who is like very savvy on the internet and social media, the more you just give them no choice to, acquire, assets from baby boomers, right? You price them out, and when you price them out, then it's like the Monopoly game that we talk about, right? It's like, hey, we've been playing. After 3 hours, or a couple hours, you figure out who the winners in Monopoly are, but then we continue to play for 3 months. They'll still operate and play Monopoly until the game's over, but it's just been prolonged. But they'll disengage their attention. So the younger generation are already coming up with their own asset classes, and I think the behavior, if we analyze the behavior of like Elon Musk or Trump and stuff like that, you know, again, you got to think about put yourself in their shoes and how they would play the game. They know where the votes come from, right? And so if there's like an emerging generation where you got to sell them on what they believe, or like you got to analyze the pain points of the current generation, right? And so they need a way to capitalize. If not, then it's just not going to work, right? You're going to have just was it demographic warfare or whatever, right? Age demographic generational warfare. It just doesn't make sense. So that's why this stuff is catching a bid. And if we analyze some of these, well, let's do it. Let's actually go into some of the coin market cap stuff, show you guys like how big some of these things are getting. It's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So right now, crypto is at 3 trillion in market cap, right? So we zoom out, going to, I mean, $3 trillion bigger than all of us. So it's just like we got to pay attention to it. Look at this. We're basically, yeah, it looks like we're about, yeah, we've already eclipsed. Actually, yeah, we've already eclipsed like like all-time highs. So Bitcoin is probably going to go a lot higher, like over 100K. So, uh, if you want to prepare for this wave, well, we gotta pay attention. We gotta pay attention. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's look around. This is exciting, right? So I definitely think this is a runner right here, right? You just gotta you just give it some time. But again, not investment advice. This is all for educational. We have to do the analytical work every week, right? It's to me, it's mandatory. That's why I just look at charts for like hours and hours and hours. It's not just charts, but I'll look at the fundamentals as well, right? And we can look into the fundamentals of this, but right now the behavior of the markets is they want to push the prices up. So let's look around. Speaking of crypto, let's actually do a Bitcoin analysis right here. So looking at Bitcoin, this is what I'm seeing, and we'll zoom out to the monthly. Look at that. Isn't that wild? That's super wild, right? Um, Man, let's go to the weekly right here. Let's look at this right here. This is the weekly right here. Ooh, oh boy. Well, you guys see what I'm seeing? Let me get the annotation tool out, a different one. You guys see what I'm seeing? Uh, this is the weekly, right? So of course, we had several cycles here, right? A cycle there, cycle here. This was the last cycle. The last cycle was about 4 years ago. So and then we had this rounded bottom, and then that cup right there, you know, has some steam, and now the cup and handle is really playing out right there, right? Hold on, let me erase some of this. Look at that cup and handle, fantastic, very fantastic. How high does this go? They say, you can measure how high it goes by measuring this point right here. So, the measured move, right, would be, whatever this amount is right here. So you say, I don't know, it could be like we could reach this dollar amount right here, right? And I'm not going to say it because I know folks are listening live stream, but you know what? You got to get onto the paid version over here because this is where you get you get your eyes and everything, your eyes and ears. But yeah, anyways, this is where I think it could potentially go if you do a measure move like that. So yeah, actually in that case it'd be like, I guess you say this dollar amount right here, but we'll see. We'll see in the cycle, right? So the cycle just started. If it just started, that means like we need to start timing it right now, right? Because if we analyze some of the prior manias, like the Doge mania, we go to Doge right here, right? Department of Government Efficiency or whatever you want to call it. Over here, right? It's wild now. It's wild because politics is embracing this stuff, or at least it's hinting that way. So we go here, we look at a market cap. Remember, right? We go to all time, and we recall, right? So this is Doge right here, right? Look how fast this stuff could go. So this is I filtered down by market cap, right? So right here on this day, right, 1 billion, and then it goes to quickly from 1 billion, it goes to by February actually. Let's see, January to February. So 1 month. Is that January? Yeah. January 3rd to February. So 1 month, it went from 1 billion to 8 billion And if you thought that was like anything already, right? That was 1 month, right? So from there, we took a pause, right? February, March, so another month, it consolidated. And then by the second month, right, it shot up again. April, and then it peaked at May. So was it February, March, April, May? That's about 4 months of activity, right? So I'm anticipating going into into the end of the year, we probably consolidate. Going into next year, first quarter of next year, we get a big, gigantic move in this space right here, right? How high? Well, you got to do the homework. You got to do the homework because we're going into this. I don't even know. Like what do you call it? The economy anymore? Um, the internet, the crypto native or whatever internet economy. I don't know. It's just getting wild. But I think there's an opportunity to make a lot of money, like enough for you to retire. Like with this cycle, if you're not gonna pay attention, again, like you have to go through several cycles to know, right? Like I've been through the Bitcoin 2013. Uh, 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 Damn, that's like all the way back here. So let me show you. I've been through the Bitcoin 2013 cycle when it was like $100, and I watched that thing go from what, let's see, $100 to, was this, yeah, this cycle right here. Yeah, see, $100 to $800. Yeah. So I was part of this cycle right here. All right, so this is one cycle right here. One cycle when it was like $100, and I remember I bought like this, back in like young K days, right? Man, I had like 10 Bitcoins. I didn't know anybody. I was just like, all right, I'll buy 10 Bitcoins or whatever. And then boom, I was just like, wow, like who knew it could go like that? And then after, right? That's one cycle right there, right? One cycle, 100 to 1,000, and then slowly it came back, right? And then the second cycle happened in 2016, yet again, right? But this time it went from 1,000 to 20,000. That was another cycle right there, and then a corrective period, right? This is like app loving right here. That's cycle two. Now hold on, there was a cycle before that as well, right? And then towards the pandemic, I remember this now, right? We had another cycle, this big sell-off right here, and then a big cycle with the money printer that came in during the pandemic right here. This is the lockdown cycle right here, and then we collapsed yet again, right? It's just how it is, right? And then what are we in right now? Yet another cycle just started. So I definitely think from what I just showed you right here, right? We got a new cycle going. And in this cycle, it's going to pay to pay attention. But you got to do the work. And I've been doing the work around the clock to figure out like, okay, this time around is a little bit more sophisticated for me. From like how I played in the prior cycles. In the prior cycles, I was playing like the main names, right? But this time around, I'm exploring like leverage. Um, as you guys know, the password to get into this meeting, right? It's kind of signaling the next big cycle that I'm seeing right now. So be smart, be smart this cycle, right? Be patient, don't be emotional, be disciplined. Leverage all the knowledge that we've experienced over the years or however long you've been with me here. Because in this cycle, let's try to retire. That sounds really ambitious, right? But I really think one could really make a lot of money. Like let's try to aim for make over $1 million at least or whatever, right? That'd be really nice. So yeah, so a big cycle really just started, and we gotta give it like 3 to 6 months, right? I'm not saying buy, right? I'm saying like be smart about what you're doing, and look at this cycle's leaders and winners, right? And the only way to do that is to observe the markets. So yes, Bitcoin is very fantastic right now. Like I think come Monday, I'm gonna jump back into more coin and micro strategies. So speaking of those, let's look at those. All right. Um, yeah. All right. Let's see. So pivoting into next year as well, I'm going to be a lot more strict. So the people who are listening for free, I'm going to be ending it soon in the next 10 minutes here. But the people who are in my Zoom, we continue to go, right? So going into next year, I'm just going to live stream for free like an hour. But going into next year, you got to come join here. Because I know I have a strong grip on the direction of the world, and I want to make it private so I could speak more freely, right? I'm tired of having this open live stream where other people could listen in. So I encourage you to join. Read the screen. For those of you who are wondering, like, what the hell is Kay talking about? There are people tuning in elsewhere, and there's like a screen that says, "Hey, if you want to see, uninterrupted, you got to join the club." So it's just a little bit of marketing on my side. But people inside the Zoom, you guys have 100% all me right here. So okay, uh, man, look at this one right here. Oh boy. I mean, is it hard? Is anyone trying to buy this? You guys feel like it's hard? It definitely feels hard, right? Sorry, I was just looking around. If people are smart and want to train on the markets, then they will join. It's definitely worth it. Thank you, V. Yeah, I mean, it's just like the economy is getting more expensive, and to me, it's like you gotta find this information somewhere. If not, then there's just so much junk now. Like even for me, because like okay, we talk about the cycles of crypto, but then there's also the cycles of like I watch social media evolve, and now like you could say there's more information, but it's like it's overloaded of like information that it becomes noise. Like imagine this, okay? Like I know there's some folks in here who like stats and stuff or do machine learning. Let's talk about signals, right? We talk about, noise and signal. But imagine for a second, what if you had overabundance of signal? Doesn't that become noise? Right? Like I don't know, like correct me if I'm wrong here. If we were to get philosophical about noise versus signal, like before, like with Google search, it was about finding the right information, looking for signal, right? But then now it's like there's too much signal that it becomes noise, right? Like what if like you get so much signal of like you can make money here, 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 here. It's just like okay, like this is just noise now. Um, and that becomes a problem because now it's like now you really can't tell. So I watched